Have you ever wondered why some people thrive in business and others burn out? Being an Enneagram 7 and human design projector has completely changed and shaped the way that I'm doing business, for better or for worse. Today, I will share the strengths, the struggles, and how I'm using my personality to build a business that actually works for me. Good morning, everyone. It's about 9:30. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm really looking forward to talk more about this. So let's get on with the show. I'm going to assume that you know the Enneagram model. And so for Enneagram 7, if you don't know really what kind of personality that is, Enneagram 7, their strengths or their characteristics, which I completely resonate. Enneagram 7 thrive and love new ideas, adventures, variety, and optimism. The other couple of characteristics of an Enneagram 7 is that they have the fear of being trapped or limited. They don't like to be constrained into one place, hence why I've always loved digital nomad kind of lifestyle. They have this fear of being limited about the things that they do in life and the choices that they have. Enneagram 7s are also notoriously known to start quickly, but they have a difficult time finishing or completing projects. Now, everything I share with you is generalization of Enneagrams or Enneagram 7 specifically, and the truth of the matter is you have to take what resonates with you the most. Now, Enneagram 7, their traits in business they're very much visionaries. They're enthusiastic. They are the natural motivator. You may or may not know Dropbox, which is a really well-known company in the United States. The CEO, Drew Houston, actually identifies as an Enneagram 7. The other strengths of an Enneagram 7 in business is that they're very comfortable of taking risks and experimenting. Now, I don't know about you, but for me specifically, when I read these out loud, I totally resonate with some of these characteristics of an Enneagram 7. A perfect example for me personally is that I love experimenting. I love trying new things. I love learning and consuming and putting my brain into just a different world for me to understand, but also because I want to learn. So I've lately been learning more about AI tools to leverage AI imaging for content creation, essentially up-leveling your content. If you've noticed that some of my thumbnails are actually AI generated. The other thing about taking risks, I'm a huge risk taker. And in Shark Tank, I remember in one of the episodes, they said that one of the characteristics of an entrepreneur is that they love or they are not afraid of taking risks. And so it can be a blessing and it can also be just a curse at the same time. Now, some of the challenges of an Enneagram 7, that they have a hard time sticking to one thing. Because they love variety, because they love the options and the novelty and excitement of new things, they have a difficulty attempting to complete a project or to seek something out fully. I guess you can say they have the shiny object syndrome. The other thing is that they do not do well with boredom or discomfort. They don't really like pain. They, like I said, love the continuity of excitement, new beginnings. They don't like the boring routines. They need to have some type of dopamine hit. If you're someone who loves new ideas but struggles to finish the project, you might be a 7 too. And that's not a flaw. That's what I want to remind you, is that's not a flaw or something that inhibits you from being successful. It's really about learning how to channel it. And this is why I'm so passionate about understanding personality traits to build the type of business that fits your personality and the way that you do things. That's where my human design projector actually adds a whole nother layer of this. Let's talk about the projector energy and projectors in business. Fun fact, Nelson Mandela actually was a projector. A previous president from the US, Barack Obama, is actually a projector as well. Marilyn Monroe, Princess Diana, Taylor Swift. Satya Nadella actually is also a projector from Microsoft. Anyways, all that to say, projectors. What are the characteristics of a projector? They're really the guides they're the ones that channel the energy and not actually producing the energy. They're not the doers. They thrive when they're invited or when they're recognized, and they have very limited energy compared to generators and manifestors. They're really good at naturally seeing systems and, like I said, guiding others. That's why you'll see a lot of them being coaches, mentors. They may be someone that's a consultant. Challenges of a projector, I would say more of a challenge than a problem, is that they can burn out really quickly. They're actually not meant to hustle 15 hours a day like other individuals, manifestors, generators. They have a limited amount of energy for that day. And so they have to really hone in and leverage the time that they have and essentially do 20% of the work that produces 80% of the outcome. They can also be very frustrated when they're not recognized, and I can resonate with that too. When you do great work or you've done something and people just don't recognize you and see the natural gifts that you bring to the table, that can be very frustrating for a projector. Now, if you've ever wondered why working 12-hour days drains you, giving advice or getting someone lights you up might also carry a projector energy. And I am known to be that friend that always gives advice without maybe asking, and it makes sense because of my previous career or my experience. I've been a coach, a mentor, and I thrive off of guiding others to their fullest potential. Why does this all matter? It matters because based on your personality, you can then mold the appropriate business model that works for you and your energy. A lot of times, I believe that people struggle or have challenges building businesses or maybe in their work life where it doesn't make sense for them or they feel excessively tired compared to the majority. And it's just because you're not meant to work in the way that the other person is. And I think that's why a lot of companies, or I would say just how we view work, is very skewed. It's expected that we are meant to work 10 hours a day, 15 hours a day, when really you can probably produce twice as much if you did strong, intense hours for 4 days and then have the rest of the days off. I bring all this up because, as I mentioned before, when you understand more about you and how you function, how you work, and what exhausts you, what drains you, what gives you energy, how you even structure your workday, it really shines light of how you can leverage and scale your energy to produce what you need to produce. Now, how am I all combining this into my business? For me, being a 7, I bring excitement, big vision, and ideas. Being a projector means to pace myself, focus on strategy, and wait for the invitation. Although sometimes I don't wait for the invitation, I just insert myself in. All that to say, what I've been learning in this process of creating content on YouTube, pursuing my passion projects, I need to keep systems to keep me consistent when my 7 energy wants to chase something new. It's very easy for me to jump to different things and start 5 things at once because I love, like I said, new beginnings, new projects, etc. And if you resonate with this, you're most likely a projector, or if you are a projector, then you understand. Like, systems are going to help you be more successful with your energy and your personality to build your business. The other theme that I'm taking away from this is that I build authority by teaching, guiding, coaching, mentoring, which is exactly what I'm doing on YouTube. I want to share my knowledge. I want to provide information or valuable education for people to better their lives. But also, I'm in an experimenting mode. As I mentioned in my previous videos, I am just pushing out content to get an idea of what I truly authentically enjoy, because what I don't want is I don't want to build a business, or I don't want to build a channel that doesn't feel authentic to me as well as talking about things that actually I'm not super passionate about. I was in a YouTube mastermind last week, and we were talking about what content do you push out. And in the beginning, it's really about what you enjoy, what lights you up when you talk about the content or when you talk about your stuff, and asking yourself, can you do that for a year? And for so long, I thought that I needed to share a certain thing because I know it so well. But then I realized that's not authentic to me. And so I need to think about things that I feel genuinely passionate about, that I can continue to talk for a year and build momentum on YouTube. Going back to what I was saying about how I'm using this to build businesses or my brand, I really thrive off of teaching, inspiring, sharing lessons in an authentic way. And that's why I always felt pulled to YouTube, because it was a platform where I could speak to many individuals across the world and share my thoughts and hopefully provide insight or inspiration or helping someone take action on something, because that's what I get really excited about. Whether you're into Enneagram or human design or not, and if you continue to watch my things, I hope you are, because I love learning about personality assessments and understanding people. The more that you can understand yourself and what makes you tick, the better to be able to build systems and structure around how you actually function and not copy someone else's structure just because it worked for them. The truth of the matter is, we're multifaceted individuals, and the more that you can understand yourself and what works, the better. The point is that your personality deeply shapes how you work best. In fact, it even creates a pathway, what you enjoy most in your career, what you do in life. Instead of fighting against it, learn to build your business in alignment with it. I was working with a client, actually, funny enough, and this person is one of the creators of a startup, and he was working on so many different things. And I thought, okay, let's take this back for a moment and think about what things are you doing on a day-to-day basis that drains your energy? What are you doing in your day that excites you, that feels good inside? And the other thing that I think it's important, when you're building something or you're doing something, the more that you can tune into how you feel inside, the better, because our feelings inside, or how our body reacts, doesn't lie to us to a certain extent. What I mean is, when I was working with this client, he was doing all the things. He was doing the marketing, he was doing the branding on Canva, and I had him peel back the layers of, okay, of all the different things that you're doing, what are the things that light you up, that you get excited about? He learned during our calls, it's not necessarily, he's not really excited about creating content. He's not really excited about designing the slides on Canva. And we found out what he really enjoys. I think sometimes when we're attempting to push something to make something work, we got to really take a step back and be like, okay, how can I use my energy in the most efficient way, but also do something that lights me up so I have the momentum to keep going. That's what I've been learning during this process. I'm really obsessed, like I said, about personality assessments, really understanding oneself to help then guide you to what makes sense and very authentic to you when you build your business. So thanks so much for watching this video. I have more videos here if you want to check them out. If you have any comments, or if you want to write your Enneagram below, feel free to do so and share your strengths and your challenges. And I'll be seeing you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Ciao, ciao.